Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Morning Yoga. Today's class is titled Warrior 2. So earlier this week um, in the private BP Harmony community, we did a yoga flow for our evening Serenity Yoga for Warrior 1. And today we're going to do Warrior 2. And I'm also going to do Warrior 2 later on in the week. So if you would like to join live in the future, you can do so. So um, let's go ahead and settle into our mat. Come into easy pose, bringing one foot in front of the other. It can be your left, it can be your right. There's no right answers. And settle into our mat. Imagine our hips rooting into the earth. Go ahead and straighten our spine. Bring our fingers to the center of our chest and then expand the chest by bringing our fingers to our shoulder and then place our palms on our knees. And then imagine that our head is afloat on water. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my right hand onto my belly. And I'm going to take a deep inhale and inflate the belly. And exhale, deflate the belly. Inhale. Exhale. Deep inhale. And exhale. Continue on your own, aspiring to make the breath deeper, the breath hold a little bit longer, and the exhale equally long as the inhale. Feel a sense of relaxation come into the body. We realize so much of our body is held tight, but when we bring the awareness to the breath, it allows us to check in. Let's go ahead and bring our hands together. Take a deep inhale up and exhale. Inhale up and exhale. Inhale up and exhale. Take a deep inhale. And with the exhale, reach up with the right arm. Reach up with the left arm. Reach up with the right arm. Reach up with the left. Continue to breathe deeply, diaphragmatically, inflating the belly, deflating the belly. Deep inhale with both hands and reach up. And exhale, cactus arms. Send the elbows back, the chest forward, shoulders back, and invert the arms. Grab my hands behind my back and straighten the elbows. Look up, look down. Make some circles with our neck. And the other way around. Okay, I'm going to switch to keep my legs a little bit hips even. And we'll go ahead, take our left hand and place it on our right knee. Our left hand, place it on our right knee. And I'm going to drop my shoulder onto my left knee slowly. The cold gets me very tight, but with gravity, things open up. I'm going to look up, reach up, look down, look up, look down, look up. I'll make 3 big circles. Go the other way. And come back up. Oof. Now I'll take my right hand, place it onto my left knee, and I will drop my right shoulder onto my right knee. Going to look up, reach up, look down, look up, and make 3 big circles. And then make circles the other way. And come back up. Awesome. Let's go ahead and start opening up the hips. In order to get into Warrior 2, I really want to focus a little bit on my hips this morning, and then strengthening my legs. Kind of want to get my back a little bit ready as well, with some twisting. And then we're going to focus on Warrior 2 and getting into that pose. So let's go ahead and get into cobbler's pose, where we bring our feet together and we open up our heels like a book. And from here, we bring in our feet to a place that's comfortably edgy. We straighten our back, take a deep inhale, and exhale, forward fold. Next, what I want to do to get deeper into this stretch is to let go of the weight of my head. And from here, I'm going to take a deep inhale and sink deeper into the pose to a place that's my limit. And slowly come back up. With my hands, keeping the feet like this, I'm going to make my hands into a T. This begins to engage the core. I'm going to cross my arms with my right arm underneath my left until my elbows are touching each other or on top of each other. I'm going to bring my hands together and I'm going to wiggle my fingers on my right hand and I'm going to bring them on top of my left hand, and this is going to open up the mid spine. We straighten our spine. Take a deep inhale and exhale, forward fold. Come back up. Slowly let go of the arms. Expand our arms into a T again. And this time, when we cross our arms, we'll bring our left hand underneath, stack our elbows, bring our hands together. They'll be facing the opposite side. Wiggle my left fingers and place my fingers on top of my right palm. Straighten my spine. Take a deep inhale and exhale, forward fold. And slowly come back up. Now, a lot of things are going to be feeling tight. And I like to do these stretches in the beginning to get a sense of that tightness. And then what we do is we fire up the core, we strengthen the muscles. And when we do these stretches again, we'll notice, whoa, we're able to do a lot more. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to fire up the core a little bit. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to bring my feet to the front edge of my mat with my hips close to my feet. I'm going to lie down on my back. I'm going to place my hands to a point where I can touch the backs of my heels. And from here, I'm going to send my hips forward. I'm going to grab my hands. I'm going to bring my shoulders together as if I'm trying to grab a pencil with my shoulders and send my hips higher, really flexing those glute muscles, and breathe. And come back down. Okay, one more time. Send the hips forward. Bring the hands together. Tuck in the shoulders as if you're trying to grab a pencil once more. And we'll come back down. And one more time. Send the hips forward. Cross the fingers. Bring the shoulders together. And send the hips back. Wonderful. I'm going to place my hands next to me. I'm going to send my feet up into the air. And then I'm going to slowly drop them like a drawbridge. And as low as you can go, and then tuck your knees in. I'm going to move up a little bit. So up. This is going to get those lower abdominal muscles. And once we're here in our chest, we'll go around and do it the other way. From here, I'm going to extend my feet outward and then bring the bridge up and tuck in my knees. Ooh, that gives you a different burn. Extend the feet out. Lift the legs up and tuck in. Do that 2 more times. And once you have your knees back at your chest, one thing we'll do is I'll hold on to my right knee and I will extend my left foot out, my left leg. I'm going to hug my right knee and sway side to side. Kind of swivel the right knee. Create some movement in the hip. If you're making clockwise circles like I am, go ahead and switch counterclockwise. Or if you're doing counterclockwise already, do clockwise. Just switch up the rotation. I love this expression, motion is lotion. When you move your joints in ways that they don't normally get moved, it lubricates them, it strengthens the muscles, it opens up muscles that have become locked. Excellent. And we do the same thing with the left side. Give ourselves a nice little hug, sway side to side. We make some circles with our knee. And really, when we're making the circles with the knee, you'll notice the movement occurring with the hip socket. And we go the other way around. Awesome. I'm going to tuck in both of my knees and I'm going to rock forward and backwards to give my spine a massage. Feeling all sorts of crackles, pops. And in the spirit of playfulness, I'm going to attempt to do a 180 in 4 rolls. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Awesome. I hope you were able to do the same. All right. So from here, I'm going to make my, I'm going to spread my arms out into a T. I'm going to spread my legs wider than the mat. And from here, I'm going to drop my knees to the left and look to the right. Come to the center, drop my knees to the right and look over to the left. And we'll come up, do this back and forth. Okay, enough hanging around on our back. Let's go ahead and roll over onto our stomachs. I can't seem to find the mat today. I keep getting moving around. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my hands to the side as follows. And I'm going to press my hands onto the ground, press my feet, the tops of my feet onto the ground, and aspire to bring my chest upward. Still, again, with this pose, we want our neck and our head to be like a float on water. Every pose in yoga, the head is able to be is loose. Now, in order to make this a little bit more intense, we can raise the feet. And in order to get this a little bit more, what we'll do is we'll bring our hands out. You can do a little swimming. And we'll come down to relax, rest and relax. Now that we've activated the lower back, let's go ahead and, with our elbows to the ground, push up and bring a little bit more opening to our abdominal muscles, a little strengthening of our lower back, getting our shoulders involved. Now, there's a tendency to want to collapse the shoulders, but we want to lift as if someone is pulling our hair, the top of our head, and keeping that part of our neck loose. And we'll slowly come down. And lastly, we're bringing our hands to our sides, sort of where our rib cage ends. We'll push up. And again, here, we want the neck to be nice and loose. You can look over to the left side. Look over to the right side. From here, I'm going to bring my feet under my toes and send my hips back into downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Now, on your own, we'll go ahead and do this 3 more times and pay attention to the inner dialogue as you go through it. Now, with that last one, we'll bring our knees down, spread our knees as wide as the mat, bring the tops of our feet onto the ground, send our hips back, and come into child's pose. And we'll slowly come up. So, what are some of the thoughts that you're having during um, the vinyasa flow of down dog and up dog? For me, I've been feeling I'm a little bit out of practice. I'm not feeling as strong, not feeling as flexy. Am I having the right posture when I'm teaching yoga? And I could do so much better. Uh, these are thoughts that I'm present with, and I'm really grateful that when I was learning yoga, and my teacher always said that yoga is not about being the most flexy or balancy. It's about having a regular practice, having an intention for the practice. And since we come here specifically at BP Harmony to restore our health, it really doesn't matter how good it looks. It's about coming here, building a sense of belonging, feeling a sense that there are people out there that know what the journey of mental illness is like, and that we're all working together. Um, and so that's in a sense, a lot of us are warriors, and that's why I want to focus on the warrior poses. Last week I did warrior 1, and today we'll be getting into warrior 2. All right, so let's stand up. We're going to come to the front edge of our mat. Let's see. I think I'm going to stand on this side of the mat to make it easier for you to see, and come to the top right of your mat, the top right side of the mat. Now, for constructing Warrior 1, we imagine that our mat is like a train track, and there's a rail on the right end, and then there's a rail on the left end. For Warrior 1, one foot was on the right rail and the other foot was on the left rail. For Warrior 2, however, both feet will be on the same rail. So we don't want to be here, we don't want to be here, we want to be here. And the back foot is going to be facing the top left of the mat. So the way that I learned it is as follows. We bring our feet together on the top right part of the mat. We come down into chair pose. We raise the foot, and from here we send it back and we come in to warrior 2. And what I like to do is to build from the ground up. So what we want to do is make sure our shin is perpendicular to the ground, that we are aspiring to make our thigh parallel to the ground. We send our back leg and we make the foot kind of diagonal facing the top left of the mat. With the back, we want to imagine that our back is up against a wall, right? So there's a tendency to maybe do this, but what we want to do is imagine that our back is leaned against a wall. We want our arms to be facing, to look like a horizontal line, like this is where the sun sets. So sometimes there's a tendency for this to happen or this. So there's no harm in looking to see that our hands are level. And then our gaze is going to be through the front ends of our fingers. And especially when the neck turn occurs, then that's when the left hand decides to, and this decides to kind of, so we want to imagine that our back is touching the wall behind us. So I'm trying to imagine that my back is touching the curtain. And I'm going to extend. So that was all there for the purpose of demonstration. We'll all reset. Now we have some familiarity on how to construct and build into Warrior 2. So coming to the top right end of the mat, we come into chair pose. We can raise our left foot, send it to the back, and it is on the same line as the front foot. I'm going to aspire. We're going to build it from the ground up. So I'm going to first make sure that my feet are rooted onto the ground, that my shin is perpendicular, and I'm aspiring to make my front leg parallel. From here, I'm going to extend both of my hands upward. You can look back to make sure that things are even. I'm going to make sure that my back is up against the imaginary wall behind me. Then I'm going to look through the front end of my right hands and breathe. I'm going to take a break by extending my right foot out, placing my left hand onto my left thigh, raising my hand up, opening up my rib cage. And this is known as reverse warrior. And we just want to make sure that my right arm is onto the right side of my view. And we'll sink back in, aspiring to sink a little bit deeper into the pose. My left hand has the tendency to sink, so I'll always check. And we'll take a break. Send our right arm upwards into reverse warrior. And from here, we'll sink back into warrior 2. One last time on this side. I'm glad I We warmed up the groin muscle today. And extend. I'm going to turn my feet forward. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break by bringing my hands down to the ground. And from here, I'm going to bring my feet in a little bit, get a little bit more comfortable. Then I'm going to lean over onto my right side to open up the groin muscle on the left. And I'm going to switch over to the left side, and I'm going to aspire to stay as low as possible. And breathe into the edges. One last time. I tell you, this yoga stuff is the elixir of youth. We'll come back to the center by kind of pigeoning our feet together. And slowly come back up. We're going to be feeling all sorts of warmth, all sorts of openings in the groin area, in the quadricep muscle. That was all on one side. We're going to go ahead and do it on the other side now. So I'm going to come over. I'm just going to do it on the other side. You can still do it on the same side of your mat. But what I would like to do is come to the top left of my mat. And imagine again that there is a monorail just on the same side of the mat. We don't want to be here. We want to be here. And this time, my left foot is going to be in the front, and my right foot, we want it to face the top right of the mat. Okay. So take a deep inhale, come into chair pose. And I'm going to raise my right foot, send it back. And from here, bring the arms down, making a nice horizontal line from one fingertip to the other. I'm going to make sure that my back is faced against the curtains behind me, this imaginary wall. And right now I'm going to build from the ground up. I'm not going to focus too much on sinking. I'm going to make sure that my left foot is perpendicular. My shin is perpendicular, that I'm aspiring to make my left thigh as parallel to the ground as possible. Straighten my spine. My back is against the wall behind me. My hands are level, and I'm looking through the front edge of my fingers. I'm going to give myself a break, extend my left hand, reach back, make sure that my left hand is to the left of my view. I was going to say vision, then it became view. So, sorry about that. And come back. Sink back in, aspire to come a little bit deeper, sink deeper into the warrior two pose. Again, bring that left foot, that left shin, make it perpendicular. I think I went a little bit too deep this time, so I'm gonna shuffle it back in with my back, really try to bring it behind me, and my gaze from the top of my left hand. Extend my left leg, bring my left hand above me, and do the same thing now. Come back into warrior two one last time. This time I'm gonna really focus on my hips, really focus on them facing this way as much as possible. And sink into warrior two. And come back up. Oof, felt that one. Come into reverse warrior. And as I'm coming down, hop back up to the front end of the mat. I'm going to walk to the center of my mat, bring my hands together, inhale up. And exhale, I'm going to hinge with my hips. Exhale, forward fold. And I'm going to let go of the weight of my head. I'm going to walk forward, hop, and come into a plank pose. From here, I'm going to bring my right foot to the right of my right hand. I'm going to place my right shoulder and my right hand onto my right shoulder. Look up, reach up. If the left knee is coming down, bring it up. Make 3 big circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come into lizard pose. Bring my elbows onto the ground. We can also do the same thing we just did while in lizard pose. Look up, reach up. And now I'm going to do the 3 circles the other way around. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into pigeon pose. So my right foot is over to the right side of my mat. I'm going to shimmy my right foot over to the left side, drop my knee, and it's been a while since I've been in pigeon pose. I actually had an injury on my right knee, and boy, as you can see, my right hip is sort of refusing to come down to the ground. But with gravity, as you can see, it is slowly opening up. Awesome, awesome. This used to hurt. Now it's just really tight. So, which is a sign that the injury has healed. My back is still not as straight as I would like it to be, but that's just because there's a lot of tightness right now in my right hip flexor, as well as my left quadricep muscle, as you can tell. So I'm going to sink into this a little bit more by leaning forward and aspiring to bring my head to the ground. we want to slowly come up from this pose. If you can't come out of it, and by sending your feet back, you can kind of just lean back and fall out of it. In my case, I feel good enough to kick my left foot into where the toes are on the ground and come back in to plank pose. Now I'm going to bring my left foot onto the left side of my hand. I'm going to look up, reach up, make 3 big circles. I'm going to come down into lizard pose. Can do the same thing. Look up. I'm going to make 3 big circles the other way around. Sink into my lizard pose a little bit. From here, I'm going to come into pigeon pose by shifting my left foot over to the right side, dropping my knee onto the ground. Ooh, got a little cramp on my left foot. Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've done this pose. But the body remembers. It's like, oh yeah, there's no reason to panic. I've done this before. But as you can see, even my left hip is still not going onto the ground. But with time, with gravity, it'll slowly. It's my right quad that's actually resisting really hard right now. But I'm not pushing. So, it's a place where I'm comfortably edgy. It's edgy, but I'm still able to breathe deeply. You might notice that my right foot is trembling, but it's not painful. You just keep breathing. There we go. The right foot, left hip is slowly yet surely. Ooh, look at that wobble. I don't know if y'all can see that, but my right foot is wobbling. This quadricep muscle right here has gotten really tight because of my injury. So I'm just gonna hang out here and go deeper into the stretch. The focus is really on the left hip, but my quadricep is really getting worked as well. And slowly we'll come back up. I'm gonna kick back. Come on to tabletop pose. Let's do a couple of rounds of cat-cow, starting with the tailbone, ending with the crown of the head. Come into cow with an inhale. And start with the tailbone again with cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Nice. Whew. Come back to where we started. And we will end today with our final pose for the day, also known as, or it is known as Shavasana, also known as corpse pose, where we simply lie down on the mat on our backs, let go of really everything physically. Feel the embrace of the ground underneath us, and pick one part of the body that is touching the ground. It can be our hands, our legs, our hips. I've picked the part of my back that is directly underneath my heart. And relax. This is where we drink all the benefits of our practice this morning. We practiced Warrior 2 today. We really opened up the hips, strengthened the legs, straightened our posture. And in some sense, when we become so focused on the various technical aspects of such poses, we forget about our troubles, our worries about the future, our griefs about the past. And in a sense, we become present and we begin to experience joy. Don't worry, the video hasn't frozen. Thoughts about what's next, what am I doing, crash your mind, let them wash over, and return to the breath and the breath alone, and back to that point of contact that our body is making with the ground. Go ahead and wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, open your eyes if they were closed. Lean over to the right side, come into a fetal position, place your hand underneath your neck. Going to press up with my left hand, come back up. Come back to where we started from. Again, root ourselves into the ground, straighten our spine, broaden our shoulders, bring our palms down. Imagine our head is afloat on water. And observe and compare how our body is feeling now as opposed to when we sat in this pose in the beginning. Mm. Bring our hands together. And for this next inhale, we'll take the biggest inhale we've taken all day long and extend our hands upward. Take a deep inhale. And exhale. Thanks, y'all. Hope this was a good way to start your Sunday, or if you're watching the recording, it was a good way to reset in your day. I wish you good health, and I'm here every Sunday, so come out on Sundays, tell your friends, and join us online. See ya.